Welcome everybody. We might as well get started, and we can welcome in any attendees as they come in. So thank you for being with us. It's our third Coaches Series webinar, which is really exciting. I think this is the most attendance we've had so far. This is great. We've had 65 registrants. So thank you all for taking a bit of time on a Wednesday night, spending it with some Kodiaks coaches and student athletes. Here to talk all things soccer and futsal, which is really exciting. And by all means, if you have questions at any time, pop them into the chat. Kind of a roundtable discussion. We'll touch on a whole whack of different topics and whatnot. So before we begin, just let you know, my name is Jamin Heller. I'm the social media coordinator and marketing coordinator for the Kodiaks, as well as Lethbridge College, and it's great to have you all with us. Before we go on with our coach and student athlete introductions, I'll introduce Todd Coughlin, our manager of athletics and recreation services, and I'll give him the floor for some opening remarks.
Excellent. Thanks, sir. And again, welcome everybody. Very excited to be able to host a series like this. And obviously to see this kind of a turnout is just amazing, but I think it goes a lot to say to what this coaching staff has done. And of course, the student athletes have done for the last few years in changing the culture of the program and bringing it to the level that it is. Obviously, in 2019 was the most successful year for the both soccer programs. And we were so excited to be able to give it another shot here, but obviously COVID had a little bit to say about that. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that fall rolls around. We'll hopefully be hosting a couple of soccer championships out at Raymond Stadium, and hopefully earning a couple berths to a couple national championships. I know that it would be a good problem to have, but to see how the coaches would have to split up to send both teams in. But you know what? I think it would be a good problem to have. But no, it's the culture of the program has been an amazing evolution. And again, it goes to just show what kind of work that our student athletes do every day, and their leaders. So glad to say that I'm a part of it, but just proud to watch it every day. So welcome everybody.
No, that's perfect. So without further ado, we might as well get into introducing our panel here today, and we'll start with our head coach here, Mr. Sean Carey, the 2019 CCAA Men's Soccer Coach of the Year, the head coach of our men's and soccer women's programs. So Sean, we'll let you take it away with a bit of an introduction.
Yeah, thank you, Jamin. So as Jamin said, my name's Sean Carey, head coach of both programs, men's and women's futsal and soccer. On our call tonight, we have two players from both teams. So Brooklyn Bellavance and Olivia Di Pasquale will be answering questions, as well as on the female side. And on the male side, we have Jaden Valou and Kayla Parento. And I think Dave Lowe and Ben Knight are on the call as well. So, and then also we have mediocre pronunciation. Thanks, Olive. We have Mark Priest. Mark's my co-coach. Mark's been part of this program for 10 years now, and he's basically the rock behind everything that happens with these programs. And yeah, couldn't have a better group of people on here tonight to answer you guys' questions, give you all the information. Like Jamin said, do not be afraid to ask questions, please. We're here to help you, whether it be coming to Lethbridge College, which obviously we hope that's going to happen. But if you're looking at other places too, I know there's lots of Lethbridge players on here today. I've just scrolled through, so please ask questions, and we'll do our best to answer everything we can for you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Coach. Yep. All questions, whether it's soccer, futsal related, if you just have Lethbridge College questions, wondering about application deadlines, scholarships, that kind of thing, drop it in the chat. Even if we can't get to it during the webinar, we'll be sure to connect with you through email or offline, set up something, make sure you get the information you need. So we'll go to our co-coach, Mark, who Sean introduced there. Mark Priest, thanks for joining us again tonight. Why don't you just give a little bit of a quick introduction to yourself and just how long you've been with the program?
Thanks, Todd, for putting that picture up. Appreciate that one. Hey guys, my name is Mark Priest. Like Sean said, I'm a co-coach here at the college. I've been around for, this will be my 12th season coming up here with the women's and with the men's. I think this is our 4th or 5th year, I can't remember. So yeah, looking forward to getting back out on the pitch and seeing everybody, hopefully winning a couple medals again. And like Todd said, it'd be a great problem to have, to be sending us in 2 different directions for nationals. So like everybody else has said, please get your questions in if you want them answered, and we'll do our best to answer them for you guys.
Absolutely. I think it's one thing, of course, to get the coach's perspective on things, but who better to hear it from too than the fellow student athletes. So very privileged to be joined by, like Sean said, a number of student athletes from both the women's and men's teams. So welcome. Why don't we start with Brooklyn? I see you down there. We'll start with our women's team with just a quick introduction. So maybe your name, position, hometown, and maybe your favorite memory as a Kodiak so far.
Like Jamin said, my name is Brooklyn Bellavance. Most people call me Belly though, so you might hear that on the Zoom tonight. I'm the captain of the women's soccer team, and this is my 5th year of playing. My favorite, I play center back, and my favorite memory, it just had to have been, I don't know, there's so many. I really liked it when Sean fell in practice during futsal practice. That really put a smile on my face. So I'd say that's my favorite memory, along with all the various wins their team has had over the years and growing the program. That's up there.
Oh, you gotta love
You could have
that.
said the scoring the winning goal at Lakeland in the last minute of the game.
A lot of goals, a lot of wins, a few medals sprinkled in there, but Sean falling takes the number 1. Why don't we go to Olivia? Video evidence, please.
Hi, I'm Olivia Di Pasquale. I'm an attacking mid, and this would have been technically my 2nd year playing for the Kodiaks. And my favorite memory, honestly, probably just being able to play like my first post-secondary game and getting like that experience in, because that was super fun. And it was against Augustana, and we won, which was also really nice.
Awesome. Yep. Very good first year, and definitely missing all the action out at the field this year, but can't wait to eventually get back out there. Why don't we move to the men's side then? Caleb, I see top left in my corner. Why don't we hear from you next?
Hi, I'm Caleb Toronto. My position is center back and left back. My hometown is Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, and I would have been 2nd year. And probably one of my favorite memories would just be winning championships, and just the whole season in general was pretty good. So those would be some of the greatest ones. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a magical run to the national championships out in Ontario, which was a fantastic experience. We'll go to Jaden now. I think he's on our 2nd page. Actually, we have 3 pages of attendees, so thank you guys so much for attending. Great to see the amount of support. Jaden, you're up.
Yeah, so my name's Jaden Ballou. I'm from Lethbridge, Alberta, actually. I play center back, and favorite moment got to be provincial semifinal against Nate, where we upset them, and we all ran into the stands to see Scooby. That was pretty special.
Yeah, pretty hard to beat that memory there. So thank you. I think we do have a few other student athletes on the call. I see Dave, so shout out to those guys and girls joining us there. That's so great you can join us on a Wednesday night. Just going to throw up a poll now before we kind of get into our round table. Just what describes you best? Just trying to get a feel for the room, whether we have a bunch of high school prospective athletes kind of wondering about recruitment or joining the Kodiaks in the future, whether you're a current athlete at Lethbridge or elsewhere. know we have a few prospective coaches too, or aspiring coaches, and some just Kodiaks fans too. So I'll just leave this up for 10 more seconds here. Quite a few high school student athletes, which is great. 8 current student athletes joining us from our Kodiaks programs, and 5 fans, 4 coaches. That's awesome. Let's just share those results with everybody. And there we go. So 28 high school student athletes. That's awesome. And this is great. You guys have full access to our coaches, to student athletes that have been in your shoes. So definitely take advantage, even if you're shy. You can put up your hand at any time, send it to the chat. If you want to just ask one of our student athletes privately, I think there is a way to do that on Zoom as well. So this is the next hour and a bit. This is for you for sure. So now we'll kind of begin a bit of a round table, and we'll start with you, Sean. Me and Todd will just go back and forth, asking a few questions, try to give you guys some good perspective on, just taking a look behind our programs and the culture that we're trying to build here, that Coach Carey, Coach Breeze are building. And for the high school athletes, maybe some of the things you can do to improve your chances of making that leap to post-secondary. So Sean, we'll start with you. And maybe talk a little bit about the culture shift that's kind of happened with the both the men's and women's programs over the last few years. It's grown to a point where both teams are now perennial contenders. There's an expectation that your clubs are going to be right there competing for the ACAC South Division crown and an ACAC championship. And of course, with an eye towards CCAA Nationals. So what's kind of been the key for you?
I think a lot of it comes down to recruiting, the time that we've put into to going out, seeing players, watching players, just the effort that, and then giving the players some direction for when we talk to them. Like, for the last year as well, like with Sam's help from the Caps to College has been a big influence. The culture change really is just instilling a belief into the players. Giving them an opportunity to be themselves on and off the field. Since Todd's joined the Kodiaks, the accountability has gone up huge, especially in the classroom. We have such a friendly little rivalry with all the coaches now too, at the college about which team's gonna have the best GPAs. It's phenomenal. Like last year, the whole Kodiaks culture, 49 of our athletes were scholars, Canadian scholars, which is nothing like second highest in Canada. That's the kind of culture we're promoting off the field. So making sure that we have the right athletes. When we talk to them, the personality is huge. So when we're talking about one of the first questions, and I know there's a lot of recruits on here today that are actually getting signed tomorrow, that one of the first questions that we always ask is to do with the school, and it's to do with personalities. It's really important that they fit the mold that we want on our teams. So I know that there's lots of discussions are always made. Well, what makes a good athlete? And every coach, there's lots of coaches on here. Every coach has a different thing that they look for in an athlete. One of the biggest things I look for is I watch them as much off the ball as I do on the ball. So I will watch them go, how they warm up, how they train, how they the camaraderie with their fellow students. So we look at all that probably a lot, as much as we watch you guys on the field. So it's really important for us to know that we're getting a personality that will fit with everybody, our teammates. We're at the stage now, and as you say, the success that's bred with this, it's breeding and it's getting the interest of quality athletes too. So which is a really huge thing for Lethbridge College. And I mean, the college has taken huge strides in since I was involved in 2009 to where we're at now is night and day. Like the programs that we're offering now, the opportunity to play post-secondary at a high level, going for that national championships. When I took the programs over here 4 years ago, one of the biggest goals, and I sat down with Todd, was a 3-year plan to be there every year, competing for that, the Southern title, and then also going through championships. I mean, it's a hard thing to do, and kudos to our athletes. They stepped up to the plate, both sides last year. You know, obviously great rewards for the men's program. The girls were right there too in a heartbreaking loss in overtime. So we're at that stage now where we are one of the powerhouses. We like to call ourselves, and Mark uses this analogy a lot. We want to be the Nate of the South. We want to be that program that's winning the division every year and really pushing to go for nationals every year. So the culture shift is there now. The players are in. We have a really good, you know, Belly's a good example that's on the call right now. Although Belly's into a 4-year program, that we can keep players. We're quite persuasive of getting them to do a second diploma just to stay with the program. Okay, so helping us to be able to get those 4-year students is huge. You know, Randy will attest to that in terms with him being on here. You know, at university, being able to have students for 4 or 5 years makes a huge deal for your programs. So that's one of the reasons, successful wise, we're able to keep some players around for those 4 years. And also we're lucky to be able to have some quality senior players in Lethbridge. And I know that like with Dave on here and Ben on here, you know, I won't tell them their ages, but yeah, they're, you know, that experience that they bring to the table just helps develop the smaller guys, the younger guys is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, we're able to attract enough from both sides, and I just can't say enough about what the college does for us too. So the right side of 30, Dave, really. But yeah, so the culture, you know, and we try to have the fun environment. It really helps, I think, from sorry, I'm just watching those two chatting at the bottom there. It really helps for you know, for them to grow as players, to be able to enjoy the practices, enjoy the games, enjoy the whole experience, because before you know it, your 5 years are done. And that's not being negative. It's just that's why we try to instill it. You know what? Enjoy every moment of it, because by the time you realize that you're there, you know, your years are going by. So that's why we instill this. Have some fun while you're playing, and enjoy the experience. And you know, I think that breeds why we're successful at the moment.
Absolutely. We'll move to Mark, and kind of the same question. You've been with the program, like you said, 12 years. Obviously, every program's going to have ups and downs. You've had great years and some leaner years, but what's kind of made the last 3 or 4 years really special, and kind of seeing that culture shift?
Can you guys hear me now? All right, cool.
I gotcha.
So I guess over the last 3 or 4 years, the first thing is our coaching staff. We love being around each other. We get along so well together. There's 6 of us, which makes it fun because not usually, for the season, we see each other way more than we see our families. So we got to make sure that we have some fun because we see each other all the time. We always kind of say it's the shortest, longest season out there. It's really intense. Not really any days off. And, you know, before you know it, 2.5 months are over and the season's done. But so I think that's the first thing that we all like, hanging out together and coaching together. And then I think the students see that, and you know, we try and make the training sessions as much fun as possible. We want to get our work done, but we want to have fun. And the girls especially know that the megs are always on during training sessions. So, you know, if you got a free shot to get a megs on, doesn't matter when it is, you know, it's always kind of on, and everybody has fun with that kind of stuff. But yeah, like I said, it's just having as much fun as possible, but making sure we're getting the work done, because that's what we're all here to do, is to win some banners and some hardware, and we want to keep this going. So yeah.
Very good, sir. Well, it's my turn to jump in here. And, you know, we'll get a couple more for the coaches here, and then we'll let Jamin start in with student athletes. So I'll get you guys some prep time. I know Belly needs all the help she can get. So
yeah, real tough ones are coming.
Just kidding, Belly. All right. So coaches, And I'll let you two decide who wants to go first on this answer. But how has the addition of ACAC futsal impacted both your recruiting and your skill development of your student athletes?
I can go if you want, Mark.
Sure.
It really helps. It's huge for us. You know, when we're discussing recruits and talking to that, it keeps them accountable as well through the second semester of schooling. And for us, you know, and for the athletes, it's a nice break to be able to go into the gym, play some futsal twice a week in the second semester. Just have a break from, you know, I mean, we're in the middle of winter then as well, and just the skill development. It's huge. So for those athletes that are on here that have played a lot of futsal, you can probably attest to that. For those athletes that don't play a lot of futsal, it really helps with that ball skills, and it transfers onto the field. Some of the very simple principles of futsal can be related onto the field, and I think it's been a great addition for the ACAC, and we're very, very lucky at Lethbridge College that we have the full support of the school behind this, and to allow us to do this. And you know that, like Mark just said, our season for soccer is so it's a long short season, and then when it's over, it's almost like an anticlimactical. So now at least we can, you know, give you guys a couple of weeks off and then get back into some sort of training again and get to see everybody every week. It's huge. Like I said, it's you become one big family, and then to be able to go on another journey after soccer to futsal, you know, we've been very, very close a few years to also bring a banner home from futsal. So it really is a big piece of our program, and you know, I'm just excited to see it continue. Hopefully, here when COVID finally abates here and gives us that opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Mark, did you want to chime in with any of that?
Yeah, just the skill development has been huge. Again, on the women's side, remember the first year we went, the refs were even kind of making fun of us, like, you guys got to clean this up. And, you know, we're all kind of rookies in futsal too, and kind of knowing the rules. And then, you know, the next year we lose in the final. So skill development's been huge, and you can totally see it on the field for both guys and girls going from futsal to outdoor. So yeah, it's a huge part of our program, and it's another thing that we can sell recruits to, is that we have a full season for the full year that they're here. So it's been a great addition for us.
And I think it's kind of just want to touch on this part too, because obviously we just brought it in under my watch, but Mark was here pre-futsal, so before we had it. And of course, he's been here the entire time. But I think, you know, what he touches on there is, and Sean did as well, is it's amazing the accountability that is now that you get basically a full season. So 2 semesters worth of competition and in the classroom. And it's been fun watching how the futsal has truly impacted soccer and vice versa. So Mark, I don't know if you wanted to say anything about like pre-futsal to post, but
yeah, you can't even compare, to be honest, pre to post futsal. It's just, yeah, it's come leaps and bounds on the field. Yeah, I can't even think. And you know what? I think futsal's really helped us become sustainable contenders throughout the last 4 years. Yeah. Don't really have much more to say to that.
and
So I'm just going to jump in on here, because I know that with Sam and Randy on here, like the progress of soccer really is going the way of futsal. Like really any true coaches and any true players, like the bodied game in Canada is extremely, it's not the right way to play the game. There's a lot of bad habits are taught with the body game that now that futsal's coming in and a lot of the tier 1 leagues are doing the futsal, it gives us an extra incentive then for recruiting. So it helps us. It's the right way to play the game. Again, it helps the development of the skills, but you know, you really have to be on your ball playing futsal. It's one of those games that you can't switch off on, and it really relates into the outdoor game as well. But you know, it definitely is it's the progress of our sport. You know, the futsal, that a lot of the teams, and you know, it'll attest to some of the national teams from South America where futsal was, you know, started and stuff, how they're so successful. is because they play this all year round, and it just helps with that ability for their skill set.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, who would ever have thought on a Sunday, late on a Sunday afternoon, we could almost fill the bleachers with 2 gold medal finals in the college. It was something to watch when we hosted, and hopefully we'll be doing that sometime again soon. You know what? I think probably, Jamin, maybe it's time to start getting some student athletes in here.
All right, let's get their perspective. So we'll pick on Brooklyn first, of course, as captain. So just kind of curious, being with the program 4 years, right? And, we've kind of seen the steady rise of the program, and a couple bronze medals in there as well. But what advice would you give to any high school athletes that are here? Obviously, we have almost 30 high school athletes that are looking to make the jump to post-secondary in the next year or two. What advice would you give to them?
Well, I would just like think back to when I was coming into the program and how that's kind of a scary adjustment going to a college level from a club or a youth league. So I just think about like how nervous I was and how I wanted it to go the best it could go. So I would just like say that everyone at the college is super accommodating and friendly, and we're kind of like a big family here. Like we're all saying hi to each other in the halls and hanging out after practice and all that stuff. So there's really nothing to be too afraid about. There's no question that you feel you can't ask really. Like somebody will be available to help you. Feel free to message like myself or Sean or Todd or whoever's available if you have any sort of questions about anything at all, like residents, like what's Kodiak House like, what's 30th Ave like, what is practices going to look like, because those are all things that can maybe settle your mind a little bit when you're changing environments and having a little bit more responsibility. But yeah, I'd just say that there's nothing to be scared about or nervous about, especially on our team. We are just a bunch of idiots just having fun, and we're all here to have fun, and we're all here for the same reason. So I just say there's nothing to be afraid of, and we're all here with open ears and to help ease your mind.
Absolutely. No, from an outsider's point of view, I just love almost all our Kodiaks teams. I mean, they just, all the camaraderie, how they get along with their teammates. It's really special to see kind of that culture as a student athlete. Caleb, we'll jump to you because you kind of recently made that jump, finishing your first season with the Kodiaks there. What was kind of the thing that stood out to you about making the jump to post-secondary, whether it was on the field, maybe things related to the level of soccer and futsal that you were kind of thrown into, or maybe some of the adjustments that you had to make off the field as well?
Yeah, there'd be adjustments in like each area, I would say. Moving to a totally different province by myself was a big deal. Other than that, though, it was from right off the start, it was a good experience. Obviously, it's a totally different level, a lot higher, playing both high school and club. You kind of have to learn how to adapt and also be willing to learn from both players and coaches. And other thing too is just with school, you gotta keep that a priority because you're working every day in the classroom, and then you're going out and practicing, and then you're leaving on the weekends around 6 a.m., 7 a.m. to a different place in Alberta. And it can be draining at times, so you just have to be willing to work hard. I think for me, it was just kind of just taking or absorbing as much information as possible from everybody. Being a first year and being kind of one of the youngest, it was definitely kind of intimidating at first, but usually everyone makes it a really good environment, and overall it's a good culture.
No, that's awesome. And make a good point too. You do begin to balance life as a student athlete, right? With emphasis on students, you're balancing not only practice, traveling for games, but also your school responsibilities as well. So we'll go to Jaden now. And Jaden, I know you're in a pretty demanding program time-wise. So just talk a little bit about managing those responsibilities and maybe some of the things that work for you in terms of managing not only the athletic side of things, but also the student side of things.
Yeah, so I'm actually in the nursing program, so it is quite busy, especially now since I'm in my third year. But in regards to managing my time, I actually have a planner. A lot of guys make fun of me for it, but it keeps my schedule pretty organized. So I don't know, I kind of just plan everything out for the week and make sure I get everything done, whether it's school or practices. And then if I don't have time, like if I can't make it to a practice or anything because I'm swamped with school, our coaches are definitely understanding to let me miss something, which I don't like to do, but sometimes you got to do it. And yeah, I just try to fit in time for everything, whether it's soccer, school, family time, friends. You kind of just got to plan out your week and make sure you're taking care of yourself because it can be a pretty draining season throughout, especially with school going on. So I don't know. I just try to plan everything out for the week and make sure I get it all done.
Absolutely. Ben chiming in there. Jaden loves the big stage. Gotta love that. I think we gotta give Dave and Ben their own podcast here. Comedy hour. We'll go to Olivia next. And Olivia, you mentioned just how, a lot of great memories your first season, a lot of fun out there. Obviously, this year's been different. Teammates kind of become your family, and all of a sudden, it's just been tough. You're not kind of around the team every day, and missing a season too takes a bit of a toll. So, what, in your eyes, what's kind of been the biggest challenge of this pandemic season? And how do you keep motivated in your training and keeping a positive mindset for the future?
Definitely just like a huge adjustment going from seeing each other every single day to not being able to, but we all keep in contact all the time, whether it's like 2 or 3 of us just going out to a field and kicking a ball around, we're always trying to better ourselves, no matter like what the circumstances are. And for me personally, the hardest part is keeping up with the motivation, but I always, take a step back and I think about what stage I want to be at performance wise coming into this next season, because our expectations are so high for where we want to be and what we want to achieve. So I always just kind of keep the bigger picture in the back of my head all the time, which really, really helps keep me motivated.
Which is good because, again, you got to find the balance. And because I know everybody has definitely addressed it so far, the importance of knowing that there are 3 pillars to be a part of Kodiak athletics. One is academic accountability. Second is athletic excellence. And the third is the student athlete experience. Every single sport under the Kodiak's umbrella lives up to those 3 standards and those 3 pillars. And, it starts with the coaches in promoting that culture and enhancing it, but the work is done by the student athletes. And again, watching the transformation of this program and hearing what our student athletes have said so far, you can get a good idea of what it takes to be a Kodiak. So I'm just going to throw this one out there to any one of you 4 that maybe want to jump in. What has been the best part of being a Kodiaks or being a part of the Kodiaks family? We'll see who jumps first.
I can go first.
Oh, okay. Go, Jaden.
Beat you to it.
Jaden jumped in first. Then it was Liv. We'll let y'all answer.
I would say, honestly, one of the best experiences with being a Kodiak is the bus rides. I think that's where a lot of the big memories are made. And you get to share it with the girls' team. So, it's a big team moment. And after a big win and you're celebrating on the ride home, I don't think it gets any better than that.
Yeah, I know for me personally, the bus rides were definitely one of the best parts. And personally, like I met some of my closest friends now, even just this last year from playing on the team, and going back to the bus ride, seeing all of Jaden's nice little bus snacks, watching him put granola in his salads and, all the fun things.
Caleb or Belly?
For me, yeah, I'd agree. Just with being with like the team all the time, you definitely get to know each other pretty well. And the bus rides too, going home after a win or even after championships was just such a great moment. It's something I'm gonna definitely keep. But other than that too, it was just being able to practice with the guys and just keeping kind of close relations and bonds with everyone.
Guess you're saving the best for last.
I'd have to say, along with the bus rides, of course, they're classic. I definitely missed those this year. Preseason is one of my favorite times to be here in Lethbridge. You get your absolute butt kicked every day, and you get to spend, time with strangers at first, and then by the end of the 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, like it's like you've known them for years because you see them twice a day. So preseason is for sure my favorite time. There's such an incredible bonding experience that happens during that window of time. By the time we head to Red Deer and play a couple games, it's like we've been playing together for years.
That's awesome. Thank you very much, guys. So before we get any more questions from the panel, just open it up. Anybody you want to jump in and ask a question of anybody that's present? Silent but focused crowd. That's okay. We'll get used to that. Okay, well, you know what? We'll jump back to the coaches. So either one, and again, even some of our visiting coaches. Oh, we did get one here. Okay. How often do you train in a week?
So the way our week works through the season, after the first set of games on the first weekend, Mondays, we do yoga. So both teams go together. It's really important for recovery from the weekend's games, especially if you're one of those that's played 180 minutes. The yoga thing is a big piece that we added here a couple of years ago. It's done by a professional yoga instructor that we hire and we bring in. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we do training, and Friday is a walkthrough on about the games for the weekend. So usually we train obviously after school. So we'll reiterate what Todd was pushing in terms of the 3 pillars. You're a student athlete, obviously you're a student first. So if you have any conflicts in terms of classes, and occasionally you might, but we train sort of, it'll be while the weather's good and bright out, it's usually the one team goes on at 5 o'clock and one team goes on at 6:30. So as one team's leaving the field, the other team goes on. As we get closer to the end of the season, when it's getting darker, things get a little congested. So we actually share the field with the 2 teams for a while, but we have the session setups to make sure that you get full access to a full field at some point in your practice. Then games on a weekend, and then back to the same thing again on the following Mondays, yoga, and back to training Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights.
Thanks, Coach. And thanks for the questions coming in. I really appreciate that. The one actually I would like to direct towards the students, because Sean just did a very good job of kind of giving an idea of what it looks like. But from a student athlete perspective, what does a typical week look like? And again, I'll leave it to any one of you 4 to jump in. Don't be shy. I know none of you.
I guess I can go.
Attaboy.
I feel like it's all dependent on the student and their program, because I don't know, for me, I just fit in my homework or whatever I have to do outside of class whenever I can. So that could be in the morning, could be in the afternoon, could be at night, but usually have a few classes throughout the day, fit in some homework, kind of chill out, and then usually it's kind of just a nice break at night to go play soccer. You're usually fighting to get out there and do something, get a break from school. And then weekends, I wouldn't expect to do any homework on the weekends because you try to do stuff on the bus or at the hotel, but usually doesn't end up happening. So try to get as much done as you can during the week. But yeah, it's kind of a typical week for me, at least.
I know
Oh,
for me
yeah.
it's okay. Yeah, for me it's kind of like just eight kind of morning classes, get through that, and I kind of set up my schedule my first season to have them finished by 12 o'clock. So then by that time I can go home back to the dorms and get something to eat and just kind of relax for a bit. And then I have around about 2 to 3 hours before school. I mean, not before school, but for practice. So just get some schoolwork done. Then after that, same thing, stretch out, and then just go to bed at a good time.
Yeah, for me, I would say it's kind of the exact same. Just make sure I'm getting all my schoolwork done during the day, because for me personally, once I get home from practice, I'm checked out. I don't ever want to do anything schoolwork wise. So yeah, I just make sure I get everything done before practice. And if I have any like big assignments coming up before we have to go on the road for a game, I make sure all that's done, just so I can really focus on the coming games and stuff like that. So
Yeah, like the other said, it definitely depends on how many classes you have. For my program, like a normal class load would be 5 classes and probably 3 labs a week. So at my busiest, I would leave my house at 8 in the morning with food for the entire day, all my soccer stuff, all my homework, and be at the college until practice was over at like whatever time that was, 6 or 7 p.m. So that is the absolute busiest, and depending on what side of the city you live in, or if you're in dorms or res or whatever the case may be, it really depends on what your class schedule is like. But generally you're spending most of the day at the college, and then having practice immediately after classes.
No, that's great insight. Thank you guys.
Can I just jump in on one thing here, Jim, just to piggyback on the
Absolutely.
players?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing that we recommend, so for you first-year athletes, especially the ones that are coming from out of town, so we kind of recommend in your first semester, just because it can get intense, especially for the first couple of weeks of school. We kind of recommend, and this is part of my recruiting talk when I talk to players, is don't take any more than 4 classes in your first semester till you get settled in, till you kind of get your schedule sorted out. Like Jaden said about him having a scheduler. It just helps you through that first semester. Once you get your feet under the table and you kind of get used into a routine, then you can pick up the set. You know, if you need to pick up a class or 2 in your second semester, or even over the summer if you need to. It just we used to see a lot of drop-offs in the first semester just because it got overwhelming for students. So that's a tip to you high school students, is when you're preparing to come to a post-secondary institution, just don't be afraid to ask that question. What's the expectations of practice? It just will help you out. And the 4 classes gives you a little bit of leeway in case that you're not enjoying one. Then we have an opportunity to be able to either maybe, drop that class and pick up another one. So it's just a really good bit of advice there that we'd hate to see you come in, take 5 or 6 classes, and then all of a sudden, oh my goodness, I'm struggling with school. And you can tell, it just has an impact on everything that you're doing. So you get too stressed with school, with soccer, with life in general. So just one of the tips of advice that I usually give first-year athletes that are coming to the college for that first semester.
No, that's some great advice there. Thank you, Coach. Gage, I see your hand up there. I don't want it to get sore, so we'll go to you, and you can ask away.
Hey, so when it comes to recruiting, what are like the 3 biggest variables or attributes that a player has that you look for?
So, okay, I didn't know if Mark was going to jump on that one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The one thing that we like is if we're able to adapt and play different positions. So if you come in and you tell us, hey, I'm a right back, but we take a look and it's like, you know what, maybe you can play right wing or somewhere else. Adaptability is huge, being versatile, just because our kind of philosophy is, as far as formations and stuff, we want to get the best 11 players out on the pitch as we can. So you might end up playing something that is a little bit different than you're used to, but if you're able to understand multiple positions, that's great. So we can maybe plug you in somewhere else. And that's a huge help because, like I said, we want to get the top 11 players out on the pitch all the time. So we kind of make our formation from the 11 players and just kind of go from there. So if you're versatile, you got the soccer IQ, which is huge, again, just because you can understand different positions and where you should be, where you need to be. Those are 2 huge ones for us, for sure.
Thank you.
I can let you go now, Sean.
Yeah, work ethic is massive for us. The training, making sure you're putting in the training before. So like for you ones that are with Sam right now with the Caps to College program, I know Sam and me and him have talked a lot about this, that work that you're putting in away from their program and away from everything else, that we see that, we notice that, making sure that you come into training camp in the fall. One of the things that we talk about, and I know that maybe I haven't seen a question come up yet here from it, but I know there's probably going to be some questions about scholarships. So one of the philosophies we have around that is we ask you to earn your scholarships. You know, it's one of those things that if you're putting in the work away from the field, if you're putting in the work on the field, if you've got the personality and you've got all the traits that we look for in the hard working side of things, then we can talk about it come fall. So it's one of those things that we instill into our players. It's like you have to earn everything you gain, and like I say, we will be aware. We'll know. There's going to be times when you don't even know that we're there, and we'll watch it. Okay, we won't tell you when we're going to come and watch. I might be in town that day, or Mark might be driving by and thinks, you know what, I will go in and I'll go in and just watch half a session. So you might not know that we're there. So we'll be watching. And again, it goes down to attitude, coachability, and the work ethic. They're 3 huge things. And like Mark says, adaptability on the field, because we do move players around and we do move formations quite regularly, because injuries happen and, you know, players, you know, form goes up and down. So being able to adapt with that as well.
Perfect. Does that answer your question, Gage? All right, we got a thumbs up. Thank you all. There's tons of great questions coming into the chat, so I'll try to start and work our way down. So Maria asks, what is offered for the mental health of the student athletes? And I know from the college perspective, we have lots of great resources as well as programs that we offer. Coach Carey or Mark or any of the student athletes want to chime in on some of those mental health resources offered?
So the college does offer like a health and counseling, like Chappelle services. If you've ever been inside the college, you can access those through, they're both through like the wellness services across from, one of like the larger theaters. And yeah, like they offer, like I said, counseling services, like we have psychiatrists on campus and stuff like that. So there's so many different outlets that you can use, whether you're sort of struggling just with getting used to being away at school and stuff like that. So there's so many different resources that you can use.
If I can, I'd like to jump in there too. Is that's one thing that we've definitely very proud of at the college is the health and wellness services. The health center is right across from the Fredericks Theater, but from the perspective of the athletics and administration, every student athlete, I meet with the teams at the beginning of every year, and every one of the athletes knows that they can come up and talk to any one of us upstairs at any point in time as well. Because again, sometimes, you know, with their coaches, basically they're essentially part-time, so they may not be on campus during the day, but every student athlete knows that if there's help that's needed, and you definitely have a place to come talk to, and that's upstairs. Because again, that's something that we take very seriously. And we've got a few programs that we're working on here, but one of the nice things is the college was just awarded a mental health grant that athletics is working with health services, that we're looking at trying to develop, you know, a very deep program that way too, but also trying to work with the academic side for a sports psychology. And that's something that's coming down the road. So just thought I'd jump and put that part in there to complement what Liv just said.
No, absolutely. And we also joined in with the ACAC on the Make Some Noise for Mental Health campaign. So getting the student athletes involved at the start of every year in January there, kind of tagging along with Bell Let's Talk. So some great initiatives there as well. We'll go to the next question then. Kofi, with COVID, how are you going to handle things, especially for new student coming from Edmonton, it looks like. So maybe Coach Carey, if you just want to touch on kind of how COVID is maybe how you've adapted so far and maybe what the outlook is moving forward.
I might like to talk about the outlook, but how we've adapted. So like just in terms, I've been trying to keep in touch with as many of the players and recruits, possibly every couple of weeks, just to make sure that keep giving them updates. As we know right now, the college is still closed to the public, unfortunately. So there's no public allowed on campus at the moment, which is, you know, kind of, I won't say hindering the plans, because usually at this time of year we'd be having our ID camp. You know, it's been 2 years since we've had that, so it's been, you know, there's been lots of interest in both programs, and for us not to be able to see players play has been a real hindrance. But again, we have to abide by AHS, the college, and ACAC. We have so many different bodies that kind of we have to work around. So I mean, it's just a matter of just trying to keep everybody positive. Hopefully a season's going to go. We're planning for a season to go. The recruiting is the same way in terms of how we're approaching it. So at the moment, it's just about, like I said, there's a lot of negativity going on in everything in society, but we're trying to keep things positive here with the soccer programs, and just trying to be as transparent as possible so that everybody knows where we're at. You know, it could change weekly, as Todd knows. He's dealing with it daily, really, not weekly.
And I'll jump in on that, and just from more of the institution perspective, the health and welfare and the safety of the student athletes and the college itself and the environment is paramount. And that's pretty much what makes us function. And that's how we function every day. We have set protocols in almost every single aspect of the institution right now that we follow, adhere to, and also just make sure that we police, for lack of a better way to put it. And so even, you know, things like in residence, there are several committees across the campus that communicate, again, pretty much on a daily basis. Yes, that is definitely turned into a part of my life that I will be more than happy once it goes away. I can't wait. Yeah, so just know that the safety of the student athletes will always be paramount first. And I'd be more than happy to have a deeper conversation about that if there's more questions.
Perfect. So hopefully that answers your question, Kofi. I can say if you do check the Lethbridge College website on the homepage, there is a frequently asked questions section. It's one of the first buttons you'll see. That does go in depth more on the academic side, what to expect. That's updated regularly. So, I mean, things do change quickly, as you guys know. So keep looking at that through the spring and summer, and there'll be kind of more direction as we get closer to fall. So I think I think Todd answered this, but can we use the field or the court on alternate days, times to get extra work in? And Todd says yes. I don't know if anyone wants to give a quick elaboration on kind of the resources available for our student athletes.
Yeah, we lots of times during season anyways, I will be, for you guys that don't know, I actually don't live in town. I live an hour away. So when I come down for training, I'm usually there all day anyways. So if through season and training, preseason, well, preseason's a little different because it gets quite intense and you probably would like your time away from the field. But in season, if you wanted to be out there doing a little bit of extra work, if you don't have classes, absolutely, we would make sure the field's open for you. And also, we could be around to, or give you some idea of what we think you should be working on, and setting things up for you as well.
Sean, since you're rolling, and Jamie just jumping in, a couple of questions about GPA and academic expectations, if you wanted to on that.
So, okay, so to give you the full baseline of your GPAs, when you come into the school, obviously, your first semester, to be eligible to play soccer, you need to have a GPA of 1.5. To qualify for the scholarships, you need to be 2.0 and above. My baseline that I tell all my athletes, and I'm adamant, I want to win the award for the best team GPA, and we're getting closer and closer every year, even though we have more athletes than anybody else. I always tell everybody your baseline is 2.5. Do not drop below that 2.5. If I'm wrong here, Todd, that's, what is that, 78 to 80%? I'll barely live, or Caleb and Jenny, you could jump in on that, but that's the baseline that we talk about that you need to be at. No less than 2.5 GPA. And then we've got, I know Ben's on the call, and Ben was an all academic Canadian last year. So what that is, and this is something we're very, very proud of at Lethbridge College, a 3.3 and above GPA. And you're also selected to the all-star team by coaches within our league. So that to me is something that's fantastic on a resume. If you're an all academic Canadian, and there's lots of times I'm a reference for players, past players, as for jobs, one of the first things I talk about to the prospective employer is if they've been an all academic Canadian, or if they were, there's another word like a Canadian scholar I used in the very beginning. So that's a 3.3 and above, and you're a full-time athlete. Those are huge things to have on a resume, because if I'm an employer and I'm looking for somebody, I know that if you come in there and you're a Canadian scholar, it means that you can juggle time. It means you're exceptional in school, and it means you're exceptional at the sports too. So those are the ones that I kind of push. Again, if you're having trouble at school, you need to tell us. We are here to help you, and we have so many resources at the school to help you. It's this within our student services, we have it's changed now, and Todd, you're going to kill me for this because I'm going to say Learning Cafe, but it's changed its name this last semester, and that is where there's help there. If you're having some trouble, we have a guy there, Andrew, that you go and talk to. We get you help. We get you to be able to help with your studying skills, how to schedule times, things like that, how to write an assignment. We give you every resource that you need to pass school. And when you're passing school and doing well at school, it does reflect onto CAST. There you go. Thank you, Todd. Kodiaks Academic Success Team. So do not shy away from asking for help, please.
Absolutely. Yep. Tons of great resources there. Also threw in a link in the chat if anyone's interested. Just a link to our student awards page. This is one application for all the academic awards that you may be eligible for. So it's one application. So if there's anyone, high school prospective students, you just apply once and then you're eligible for all the awards that you apply for, or eligible for, sorry. So all right, we'll keep going down the chat then. Kyler, do you have any games recorded for us to maybe get an idea of the type of playing style you play? And Kyler, I do know our ACAC TV, just due to storage, I believe they're cleared out. Would that be right, Todd? By this time of year. I think if you were to get in touch with either me or Sean, we can probably dig up some old footage for you if you want to just get a taste of the ACAC action. Not every game is streamed, but we are kind of working towards that as a conference. We do tape our games and upload them on ACAC TV so your friends and family can watch, and as well national championships, ACAC championships. Those are all live streamed. So if you do have family and friends back home that want to watch, they're able to do that.
So the style, just to piggyback onto that, Kyler, for you, our style will change. Like for both teams, it could change depending on the teams we're playing against as well. So I want to we're moving towards a more high tempo, upbeat game this fall. That's my plan with the team. We want to play quite a tic-tac-toe, aggressive attacking style of game. Will we get exposed? Will we be, shot in the back sometimes? Absolutely. But I want to play more of an aggressive, no time on the ball for the opposition teams. And I want to be looking at, this goes for the girls team too. Like I want to play, and I know this is, for those who follow soccer, I'm a huge Leeds United fan. So I think that, can you guys hear me okay?
It was dipping for a sec, but I think you're back now.
Okay, because you know what? Why don't I just change the style? I will try. Maybe my earphones are going to. So I want to play a very aggressive style like Leeds play. I want to be all over the ball when we don't have it, winning it back as fast as we can, and then when we do have it, it's going to be a, we want to be attacking quickly. We want to be taking the initiative, and we like to use the word in the last couple of years because we do have a lot of quality players on both teams, and we like to use the word instinctive. So play with your instinct. So if you're so like I'm gonna get if I just
Yeah, if you just hold it there, it sounds good. It was dipping again. Yeah.
Is that better?
Actually, it's amazingly better. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, technology is hard-lit, especially for somebody at my age. So, sorry, I'd lost my train of thought. So if you're one of those players that's creative on the field, we want you to be creative. We don't want to take that away from you. We want to be able to exploit the other teams. We want to play to our strengths, and that's the way the style that we like to play. So if we go up against a team that's structured like SAIT is structured, we might play a little bit more like a structured setup and different responsibilities for teams, for players on the team and things. But if we're going up against a different opposition that play a different style, like Medicine Hat's a good example. They like to play a high tempo game too. Then we'll basically trade punches with them and try and go at them. So that's the kind of styles that we look. And like I say, it changes daily, it changes weekly, and depending on the opposition.
Perfect. Todd, are you seeing any more in the chat there? I do see that Canoe joined us and asked a question, and thanks for joining us, Canoe. Shout out to one of our biggest Kodiaks supporters and fans. Brooklyn, looks like you touched on that. Maybe, I don't know if you just want to say a little bit about kind of what the fans mean and, kind of the atmosphere that you're playing in front of at home here.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, fans can win a game for you. Like if you're down a couple goals and you're not feeling great and everybody's kind of in the dumps, if the fans push through, and cheer everybody on, it makes the world of difference, and it can just rise the spirits of the team, like, and turn it around like 180 degrees. I know there's been lots of games in our gym, you know, watching basketball and volleyball. The fans are going absolutely insane. So we have really good fans here in Lethbridge, and it's really nice to see when other teams come out and watch our games. That happens a lot too. Athletes backing athletes is something the college really supports and tries to make happen. But yeah, playing at home is it's a special feeling. You're in your own change room. You know, you have a familiar announcer. You get to put whatever music you want on. And you get to see your friends and family out in the stands, you know, so that just makes you want to, well, I guess out on the hill, I should say, but it just makes you want to play even harder, score even more goals, and push yourself further than you would even if you're away.
No, that's great insight. Thanks, Brooklyn. Definitely, I think we do have something special, you know, with all Kodiak sports. Just thinking back to the men's volleyball championships, you know, every Kodiaks team in the stands, a full house, cheering on all the other Kodiaks teams. It's just something special. You don't see that in a ton of programs in Canada. Safe to say we have the best student section, the best atmosphere in the ACAC, and I think nationwide. So with that, we're already at 8:07. So thank you guys so much for all the questions. Tons. I think we've had one more. Maybe we could sneak one more in for Sean. Is there a maximum age for recruitment?
No, not at all.
Looking at Dave.
The one question I wanted to ask, and I'm sure this is something that a lot of the prospective players on here want to know: how do you get recruited? So the way that you get recruited, obviously, it's going to be very hard for us to see every single player. So the way you get recruited is send out. We have recruiting forms on the gokodiaks.ca website. Fill one of those in, send it to the school. You can contact me directly. I would prefer on my end, I like to get either a phone call or a text message. If you express your interest in wanting to attend Lethbridge College and wanting to come play for the team, I do. Todd, they like the recruiting forms. But honestly, you to reach out. That's how we get recruited. Then we start the process of communication. From there, we will come and watch you play. We will talk to you at the side. We'll give you some tips on your game, what we think you can improve on, whether we think I'm a very honest person and an honest coach. So I will tell you, I'll tell you sort of where you would stand within the Lethbridge College, within the ACAC, things like that. So you need to reach out to coaches, and obviously we're on here talking about Lethbridge College. There you go. Jim has just shared it for you guys in the group chat, the recruitment form. Please reach out to institutions. That's the best way to get recruited. There's no minimum age. Even if you're in grade 10, 9, 10, 11 right now, if you're interested in Lethbridge College, if it's just one of the few institutions you're interested in, talk to us. Just send us a form. We will come and see you play. We'll come and talk to you. We'll watch you. I know there's some on here that I've seen play. I just scroll through again. So that's how you get recruited. That's the best way to do it. Like I said, sometimes we might not find you. So we might come to a game when you're not playing. We might come to a game when you're injured. We might come to a game when you're away with family. So the best way to do it is always reach out. Second thing on this part of recruiting, do not be afraid to ask questions. Do not be afraid to ask about playing times, scholarships, like you've been asking tonight in terms of training. Ask all those questions. Do not be afraid to do it. The philosophy we have at Lethbridge College is if you're the best player in your position, you play. So if you're a fifth year, if you're a first year, years in the fact that if you come in, if I'm not doing my job, if I'm not recruiting players to improve my lineup. So if you're a first year player and you come in and you earn yourself a spot on the team and you knock a fifth year out, good for you. And I'm sure the fifth year won't be happy, but at the end of the day, we're in the business now of winning games. So you've worked all your youth career to get to this point. So now we're at that stage now where it's rewarding. Like we've said from day one, we want to be competing to go to nationals every year. For those guys that went 2 years ago to Ontario, it was a fantastic experience. We didn't get the results we wanted out there, but you know, it is it's one of those things that now we wanted to leave a legacy. I want to leave a legacy at Lethbridge College, and that's not me being selfish. That's me wanting to put the work in to be able to give you guys, you players, both programs, the opportunity to go to nationals every year. And that's where we want to be. So I know that in terms of recruiting, I know people are shy about, that's how you get recruited. You need to sometimes make the first move, because you won't always be found. And you know, like I said, I sound like a broken record when I say this to you, but I watch more off the field than I watch on the field. So if I've watched you play at the soccer center in Lethbridge, let's just say, or on the fields or training with your team, just be aware. You might be out with your friends in the Lethbridge Mall, and I might see you and things like that. So just some little tips for you, just to be aware of. Be the person that we want you to be if you want to play for our team. And you know, like I said, this program's at the stage right now that you know, it's about winning, and we want to take the right people forward with these both teams to make sure that keeps happening.
Perfect. Thanks for that perspective, Coach. So I'm going to throw to Todd to kind of wrap things up here. Thanks for the question there, Sam. That was a classic case of reading the first line and not reading the rest of it. So looking forward to seeing you and Dave on the field sometime soon. We'll throw to Todd now for some closing remarks, and then we'll get to the door prize winners just at the end here.
Yeah, and while James just doing that, I mean, honestly, Sean just pretty much wrapped it up pretty good there. You know, it's a complete picture, but I won't jump on the stage here. But is there any other questions, or would any of the panelists, is there something you want to leave? So either Caleb or Jaden, Liv or Belly, you guys got any? You're the center stage here. You're the ones that matter.
For me, towards the high school students, I would say just to work hard. Set yourself some good routines, especially if you want to go into post-secondary and be a student athlete. Just have yourself a schedule and have that ready. So by the time you get into it, you'll already have something like that. You'll have a foundation, and just work hard. Even though there's COVID, just find opportunities and be creative.
Yeah, just to add on to that, I would say for any recruits coming in this year especially, start putting in the work now, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get back into shape, because COVID definitely hit us all pretty hard. And we want to have another run this season. So if you're coming in this year, you put in the work this summer. It'll definitely help you when you come into training camp.
Thanks, gentlemen. Ladies.
I just say don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, we've all been in your shoes, and we've all gone through this process, as scary as it might seem on the outside. We're all here to help you, and don't be afraid to reach out and ask questions.
Yeah, kind of like what everyone else said. Like, we're all super open to any questions that anyone has. Just don't ever get down on yourself if you feel like you're struggling with school and kind of juggling like a social life, school and soccer. We've all been there. We're in that same exact situation as you, so don't ever be afraid to reach out to anyone. And just, yeah, like if you're looking into coming for this upcoming season, just put in the work this summer. Like, we can all appreciate someone that really, really works hard and that really shows that they want to be there. So yeah, that's what I would recommend.
Thanks, guys. Coach Carey or Coach Mark? Mark was so excited he shut himself off.
I think on my end, like I say, come prepared. I'm just looking through the list, going swiping here, and I see some more recruits that we've got for the fall are already on the call as well. And they know the expectations now. our expectations have risen in the last 4 years now to, make sure you put that work in, make sure you're ready to come in the fall. We don't want to spend time in training camp working on fitness. We want you guys to be able to be the best players you can be, and the more time we can spend on formations, on structures that we want to do, set plays. I'm a big set play coach. We work on that. I think for you guys, if you ever watch the guys semi-final and final, like the goals we scored from that, pretty much 3 of the 4 goals in those games were from free kicks and corners. So just from just putting that work in, so that when we can work on the smaller detail stuff when it comes to training camp, and it's not about working on you guys' fitness, because it's frustrating. And it's like, I know Sam's preaching it really hard with the Caps to College about the fitness side of things, and it's really, really important. We play 12 games in 7 weeks. So for you guys in youth, it doesn't sound like a lot of games, but when you're juggling school, when you're juggling training every night with it, when you're juggling everything else that goes with life, 12 games in 7 weeks is a lot of games, and playing at this level. So that's why it's better to be, if you're physically prepared, it will also help you mentally. So if you're not worrying about your fitness side of things, it will really help you mentally when you're coming into camp. And like I said, we'll see it from day one. We'll be able to see what you come in like. And I know most of you people that are on here are serious about being post-secondary athletes. I can see that probably most of you will put the work in and the time in to become the best you can be. And, what better for you Lethbridge girls and guys that are on here, what better place to go in a few years' time and walk into the gym at Lethbridge College and see banners hanging from the ceiling and on the walls and say, I was part of that team. I was part of bringing that banner to this program, and I had a great experience while I was doing it. So yeah, I think that's my say. I don't want to fill you with too much, but I just reach out. If you want to come and play at the college, if you want to go to institutions, reach out to coaches now. So I know there's I think I can see some grade 10s on the call here and grade 11s. You're not too young, and Sam, you're not too old. So, like Dave said, he's on the other side of 30, but Dave was one of so Dave Law on the call actually got he was a player of the championships when we won the gold medal. Ben Knight was the Alberta Player of the Year, and Ben 27 when he won that. So he was in the running for the Canadian Player of the Year. So you're not too old and you're not too young. So like I say, it's easy for me. We're recruiting right now for 2022. I have a list of players for 2022 already. So, and it won't be long before we start in that list to go to 2023.
No, absolutely. And see Dave in the chat, the first men's banner in gold feels great. That's something no one can ever take away from you. Lifelong memories right there. So our winners for the door prizes, I believe we have 3 Kodiaks soccer backpacks, as well as 2 Kodiaks bookstore gift items. So just going to rattle them off quick. Ethan Meerkirk, Carissa Marshall, Krista Van Diemen. You have the backpacks. So if you just don't mind, I think we have your email, but if you don't mind just sending us a private chat to either me or Todd, that would be great. And we'll make sure we connect you with those prizes. As well, we have Leo and Paul Jones, winners of our Kodiak shirts. So those are our 5 door prizes there. And of course, I wouldn't be doing my job as the social media coordinator if I didn't plug our social media accounts. So definitely go follow us, Facebook, Twitter. Instagram is obviously our favorite, at LC Kodiaks. Go follow us. We got some training photos up from soccer too, I think over the last couple of weeks. So go check that out. Stay up to date. And I think that about does it. Anything else, Todd, Sean?
Thank you, everybody, for being on the call. I hope you got the information you needed. If you didn't, you know where to find us at the college. My email, phone number, and everything's on the college website. And do not hesitate to contact me.
Perfect. And with that, we'll wind things down. Thank you all so much for coming. Our highest attendance at a coach's webinar series. Next week, Todd, I believe we have basketball on the line, so excited for that one as well. So thank you on behalf of all our student athletes, our coaches, and Todd. Thank you for coming out, and we'll see you next time.